Alright guys, welcome back. This next test is going to be on a scratch. So I'm removing this scratch on the car. A little hard to see with the flash on like that, but if you see it down the side of the panel like this is the rear quarter panel. We're back with the Honda Pilot. A relatively great paint though, doesn't need a lot of correction, so we're going over this car, giving a complete detail, but today's test is going to be on the Pinnacle 360. I'll show you the product here in a second, but we are going to be using a pneumatic tool. So this is my Ingersoll brand polisher. I think a lot of the people who have seen my videos are familiar with this tool that I'm using. I'm just using a cutting pad, foam cutting pad. And I'll show you the product that I'm going to be using today is going to be the Pinnacle XMT. It's extreme machine technology, so it's meant to be applied with a machine, not hand done. And this corrects, cleans, and seals. So it's got a sealant in it as well as some polish, but very, very slight, so not very aggressive. It's not going to take out, sanding grit marks like 1500 or nothing like that, but we're going to test it and see if it'll remove this scratch. I'm assuming it will. You guys saw the last video, if you didn't check that out, where I removed the scratch on the passenger side door. Pretty deep scratch, but we had to take Manzerna Power Gloss 1000 to it. We had to take Wolfgang Uber Compound, Total Swirl Remover, and then a finishing glaze to it. So we got it out completely without having to wet sand. But let's take a look at this one and see if the XMT 360 does the job. So I'm going to make sure to shake this bottle up real nice. It's been sitting for about almost a year exactly. When they sit, that turns like this yellow color. What it should be is the pink. I've gone through several bottles of this in the past on my own personal vehicles, and I know how good this can be. It's pretty much a one-touch solution for polishing and sealing in one. However, I don't like the overall sealant effect of it. It's not the best. You're best off doing a dedicated paint sealant, and then I like to top that off with a Carnauba paste wax by hand, especially on the black and red vehicles. So I'm going to go ahead and apply a few dime size amounts to our polisher, and we're going to begin. Obviously this would be using about 90, whoop, and it's dripping out. So I'm going to assume that this is pretty old and probably not going to become effective, but we'll see. Let's see. So our scratched area was right here. Go ahead and get it on there real nice, and then start at the lower speed, of course, and work my way up. Make sure you guys can see right there. Back out a little bit, and there we go. It looks like it pretty much did the trick so far. I'm actually not seeing the paint. It looks like, or I'm sorry, the scratch. It looks like we leveled it off already. So that's a good job for the XMT 360. Good test. I'm glad the results. But only time can tell until we pull it out in the sun, of course. Let's get it wiped down with a new microfiber and see what we've got. All right. Ooh, and it's feeling real smooth. That's what I like about the lighter, liquidy polishes, better than the real hard, aggressive, pasty liquid ones. The more light it is and liquidy, the easier it is to get off. Not true to be said about a lot of the paint sealants. I'm going to be testing one of the German-made sealants out on this car, but I think that we're going to be well surprised. Very, very smooth. Obviously, I clayed the vehicle. This is extremely smooth. If I were to take a plastic bag, and rub it over here, we wouldn't hear any rustling or roughness on this panel. Completely smooth. So with a pneumatic high-speed polisher and that XMT 360, looks like we did a great job. That's 100% perfect, guys. Some might call it a day after this and say it's all sealed up. I'm going to do a dedicated sealant. Obviously, you're going to get sling when you're doing a pneumatic polisher gun like that. That's why sometimes the dual actions or rotaries can be a better choice. But we're doing the whole car, so might as well go all out. Well, there you have it. That was Pinnacle's XMT, Extreme Machine Technology 360 correction, polish, and seal. Correction, clean, and seal. Polish from Pinnacle. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back with a ton more. All right, so next up is this scratch on the front quarter panel on the driver's side of this Honda Pilot. You can see it's pretty well defined. It shouldn't take much to level it off, but we'll go ahead and test out another product. Obviously, every scratch is different depending on the severity of it, but we're looking significantly, deeper than the last one. So let's go ahead and take a couple of passes with our pneumatic Ingersoll Rand gun, and we should be completely out. I'm going to set you down here at an angle where I unfortunately don't think you can see the scratch. Let me try to find it. It is right here. At certain angles, it's more difficult to see than others. Yeah, you can't see it from here. But, yeah, we'll go ahead and test this guy out and see if we can get her out. I'm going to be using the Pinnacle XMT Extreme Machine Technology 360. It's got correction, cleaning, and sealant formula all in one. It's not always the best answer, but for some of the scratches, it does work as an all-in-one type fix. Clean up our sling a little bit if we can. Looking pretty good already. Almost in a couple of seconds there, we got the scratch completely leveled off. With these pneumatic guns, you've got to be extremely careful, especially depending on the pad you're using. If it's a cutting pad, you lay this guy on there too long on a high speed like this, you will burn through the paint or make it just more difficult for you to level it off and back off of it. So you really got to use a liberal amount of product. That's why I'm using so much here, and there's so much sling. There's really nothing we can do about that. If you don't use enough product, you'll burn through it and start heating up this pad as well as the panel, and you don't want that. So it's looking pretty good, guys. I'm just going to make another pass over it real quick and wipe it down and see if we got that scratch out. And yes, completely gone. So wow, man, I gotta give a 5 out of 5 stars to Pinnacle's XMT Extreme Machine Polish or Technology 360. That is amazing. It's completely leveled out, completely gone, faded in, feathered up, and all that. No marring marks or nothing. Obviously, a lot of that's going to depend on the paint you're working with. Newer paint, you're going to have better luck. Older paint, man, always tougher. Black cars, guys, whew, the worst. But this silver paint actually works out really, really well. I'm glad we were able to test that Pinnacle XMT 360 really well on multiple different scratches. It's obviously not going to work where a compound, or a cutting agent is really necessary or needed, but man, it did the trick. It really worked on this car. So it does appear that it's an all-in-one solution or answer. I've used it for the last several years. Probably about 3 years ago, I was turned on to it, ordered it up and tried it and was like, wow, this is amazing. This is an all-in-one pass on the car. And you've cleaned, corrected it, and sealed it in one. Like I said, you're going to want to take a dedicated sealant or wax to it after that, in my opinion, but you could just call it a day once you've wiped this away. So thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I'll be back with a ton more. Yes, I probably should have been wearing gloves to do this, but we're pretty good. So I'm going to wipe this car down, do a complete exterior detail on it, and I'll let you know the finalized, finished product. Don't forget to subscribe, guys, and I'll be back with a ton more.